What if you stopped trying to just do anything in your relationship and you started doing the right things? What if you stopped pretending to be somebody that you did not want to be or that you do not want to be? What if you stopped playing games and actually gave all of you to the relationship or even to your partner? How would you show up differently? How would you speak differently? How would you love yourself differently? What we're going to discuss today is what would happen if you actually face the reality of where your relationship is currently. Not the way that you want your relationship to be, not the way that it used to be 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, where it is today. How much better would you feel about yourself? How much better would you feel about your partner? How much better would you feel about the relationship overall? Now, who am I and why should you even pay me any attention? My name is Marshauno. I'm your favorite life and relationship strategist, and I help women that are married or in long-term relationships to stop feeling disconnected and unloved and shift them to feeling understood, appreciated, all while creating the intimate moments that you deserve. If this sounds like something that you want to experience, then reach out to me by sending me an email at marshawn@marshawnolaniyo.com. It's down in the description box below, depending on which platform you are watching me on. Or you can just go right to my Calendly link on my website, www.marshauno.com, and just book your appointment today so we can get you on the path to from being stuck where you are to where you want to be. Now, what if you gave it your all? What would happen if you actually face the reality of where your relationship is currently? Now, this would actually take you doing things differently, showing up emotionally differently, handling your spirituality differently, your finances differently, and even relationally, specifically with your spouse or your partner. Would you be able to give up what you knew that was not working, or I should say is not working, and focus on the changes that you need in order to change it all around? What would you give up in order to experience the relationship that you have been dreaming about experiencing? Here's the thing. When I dropped my guard, when I stopped pretending, when I started to walk in the relationship that is in my face, when I started to accept the relationship that is actually in my face, my faith in myself, my faith in my husband, and as well as my faith in God went up, because I stopped pretending. I stopped looking at things the way that I wanted them to be. I stopped thinking about what others would say. I faced my own reality. I faced my own shattered dreams of it being a certain way. And I just had to accept what was actually in my face, the good and the ugly. What would that look like to you? I had to stop my destructive patterns and practice holding back. My destructive patterns is being quick on my feet, being quick on my tongue. And although I still struggle with this today, I'm much better than I was when we first met. I'm much better than I was when we first got married. I'm still a work in progress. And I'm able to sit here and share this with you because I want you to be better as well. But this is why you keep coming back to my channel, because you want to be a part of the top 1% of couples that have extraordinary relationships. The only way to do that, the only way to get there is to stop pretending, is to face the reality of where your relationship is to not give up because things are hard. It's to not give up because your fantasy is now being shattered. It is to walk and be intentional about the way that you are showing up. Because you don't have control over what your spouse does or does not do. You don't have control over what your spouse does or does not say. You only have control over one person, and that is yourself. You only have control over your actions. You only have control over your habits. You only have control over your behaviors. Now, why don't we make these changes before it is a must? Before something smacks us in the face, before God shifts and takes everything that we know to be normal away from us, before we decide to say, I need to make a change. And it's usually because we're human, because we've been disappointed, because we've been through hurts, because we've been through pain. And nobody wants to experience the pain. Nobody wants to experience the hurt. But you don't realize that you're actually experiencing it right now. With you not facing reality, the reality of your relationship specifically, the reality of your relationship with your spouse, to be even more specific, because you're not facing this, you're hurting anyway. Because you're living in your fantasy up here, you're also wishing, hoping, and even becoming more resentful as each day passes. But sis, it all starts with you and some of the bros that are watching this. It all starts with you, because you're the one who's looking for the education to do and be better in your relationship. So you have to be the leader in your relationship to turn this all around. You don't have to give up when things get hard, because here's the thing. Even if you decide to leave this relationship because it's just too hard, the next relationship that you think about getting into and actually take that step to getting into will be tough as well. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you decide to just give up and walk away right now, you will do that every time something gets hard in your relationship. You will be known as the runner. You will. And maybe your spouse, whether this current one or the next one or the next one, maybe they might not know because maybe you don't share this thing with them, but you will know. You will know that each time something gets hard, you'll decide to run away from it. But you'll also know even prior to that, because as I just mentioned, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if something gets hard in your life, period, not just in your relationship, in your life, period, do you find yourself running away from that thing? Do you find yourself bogging yourself down with mind-numbing behavior, whether it's the bottle of alcohol, whether it's always hanging out, whether it's always going to the party, being the life of the party, whether it's always never sitting in silence and sitting with your thoughts? See, we have to look at ourselves and our behavior and our habits and what we're currently doing, be honest with ourselves, and then start to work on switching and changing that behavior. When you live in your fantasy and when you do not face the reality of your relationship, you begin, or I should say you maintain, false hope. Or maybe you just never even thought about it because you just can't do it. You cannot face the reality of your relationship, because the truth of the matter is, when you do, you already know what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is something that you don't want to experience, because it's going to be pain. It's going to be hurtful. It's going to be your new normal, which could end in a breakup, which could end in divorce, in a divorce, excuse me. And so for most of us, it is because we are not equipped to take the next step, nor are we prepared to take the next step of facing the reality, especially when you know in your heart of hearts that the reality will end in the end in the relationship becoming complete, end with the relationship ending in a breakup or a divorce. Most of us are not we're not equipped to handle a breakup. We're not equipped to handle a divorce. But the reality is this: the sooner you face the reality of your relationship, the healthier you will be. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story before I wrap this up. So I just mentioned that the sooner that you face your reality, the healthier you will be. Well, I experienced this myself. So in my first marriage, I was always sick. Literally, I had a cold that would come and go, come and go, come and go, come and go. Well, many years later, I did not know this at the time, but many years later, I come to find out that whenever you are in a relationship that is not healthy for you, you have a tendency, or at least one of the symptoms, is to have the tendency to remain sick all the time. You cannot get rid of, maybe it's a cough. Maybe it's like I said, for me, it was me always having the common cold. I was always sick, always sick, always sick, always sick, always sick. But guess what? When I faced the reality that that marriage was going to end in a divorce, and I had to step through that door and now wear the title of a divorced woman, the beauty of it was the sickness went away. And guess what? I have not been sick off and on like that since I got a divorce. And your sickness might show up in a different way. It might be you always stressed out. It might be your clumps of hair coming out. It literally might be the common cold that just will come and go, come and go. It might be a cough. I had another girlfriend. Girlfriend who literally just went through a divorce. Now, you know, I am not advocating divorce, but I am advocating you coming to the reality and the grips of where you stand, where you're at today. Can you turn things around? More than likely, most of us actually can. But let me get back to her story. Her story is she had the cough. She was in that relationship for 7 or 8 years. And that cough seemed to come around year 2 or 3. And it did not go away until recently. Once she divorced, she was always sick, always sick, always sick, always sick. Her sickness showed up in a different way than mine. So she did have the colds, but hers was mainly the cough that would never, ever, ever go away. Mine was the common cold. What is your sickness that could miraculously heal up and go away, which mine and hers actually did, if you face the reality of where you're at in your relationship? Again, I am Marshauno, your favorite life and relationship strategist. And if you need some help with being stuck, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're ready to move forward, reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's talk about how to get you back healthy in every aspect of the word. I love you guys. There's nothing that you can do about it, and we will talk very, very soon. Bye.